Here's just a short video to show you how to get started with Opening Trainer, which is a command line based tool for learning chess openings with spaced repetition and active recall learning in the style of flashcards. So the first thing I'm going to do is just resize my terminal here, and I'm going to launch the trainer. So make it a little bit smaller. So this is the opening screen of the trainer, and you'll see I've got 11 different repertoires on the go here. The first is the London, which I've managed to learn 100% of. That's only a small repertoire, which has 30 training positions in total. I've learned them all, and I've currently got 25 positions waiting. So that means there are 25 training positions which are scheduled for recall at the moment, and they're waiting there for me to go into that repertoire and recall those positions. Got various other repertoires on the go. I have a much larger repertoire in the French defense, which I've learned 100 positions out of 217, and I've got some positions to recall in that opening here as well. So I'll just show you how that training works. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my London repertoire here by typing the ID, which is 1, and hitting enter. And you'll see here I have no new positions, nothing to learn, but I've got 25 due positions. Alright, so I want to check out these positions, so I'm going to press T for train. Alright, so here's a position in the London, to try and recall what the right move here is. Let's think. I think probably the right move here is knight f6. Yes, knight f6 is correct. So I'm going to hit enter, saying OK. That was OK. I found that position OK. Another position here. I think the correct move here might be g6, so I'm going to think g6. Wrong. The correct move is bishop f5. So here, I'm going to press H for hard. So I got this position wrong. I'm selecting H for hard, and that means that position is going to come up more frequently. Right, I'm going to experience, or I'm going to be prompted to recall that position sooner because I got it wrong. That's the idea with spaced repetition. Alright, another position here. Okay, I suppose my opponent has just played knight h4, attacking my bishop, so I think the correct move here is bishop e6. Correct. Okay, and on we go. And we can continue this for a long time. Here you see I got the position back, which I got wrong before. I said g6, now it should be bishop f5. Correct, so I'm going to hit enter, and so on. I can go all the way through this training here, and so on, and eventually I'll knock off all of these positions. My training will be finished, and I'll return to the screen for the London. Alright, so I'm going to close that repertoire. That's how the training works. So an obvious question is, how do you build a repertoire? So you have to do this first, of course, before you can train a repertoire. So I'll show you very quickly how that works. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new repertoire by hitting N, typing N and hitting enter. And now I need to choose a starting position. So let's say, what's missing from my repertoires? Something against d4. So I'm going to navigate to, let's say, some position in the Queen's Gambit. Yeah, the Albin counter gambit. So I'm typing the moves in here in UCI notation. So UCI notation is very simple. You just type the home square and the target square. So it's 4 characters. And that specifies the move uniquely. All right. So I want to work from this position. So I'm going to select this position as the starting position for my repertoire. And I'm going to play this for black. Black repertoire. And the name, the Albin. Okay, so now you see this repertoire is popped up here with ID 4. So I'm going to select this repertoire and move in. And now I'm going to select M for manage. So this is where you build the tree of moves that constitutes your repertoire. And you can specify all of the opponent's responses that you want to play against. And you can specify your choice, your solution to those problems that your opponent can pose for you. So, for example, I think here the most common move would be d4 takes on e5, to which I think the response should be to push the d pawn, so d5, d4. And there's a very nice trap in this line, actually, which I'll show you, which is if your opponent plays e3. If opponent plays e3, you can have bishop e4 check. And most often your opponent, if he's not aware, he's not so alert, is going to play bishop d2, and yeah, then you have a nice line where you can take this pawn here, sacrificing your bishop. And if he takes the bishop, you're going to just carry on taking pawns. You take on f2 with check. Obviously, he can't take with the king because his queen's hanging, so he has to advance his king to e2. And then you can take this knight here, but under-promote to a knight. Okay, so in UCI notation, this would be f2 to g1, and I want to specify knight, so I take n, and that hasn't worked. Why has that not worked? f2, g1, knight. f2, g1, small n, lowercase n. Okay, so you need to use a lowercase n to indicate a lowercase letter to indicate your promoted piece. All right, under promotions don't occur very often in openings, obviously, promotions for that matter. All right, so what's really nice now is that you remove the knight from g1. So now after rook takes, so it would be h1, g1, you can just play bishop g4, ch, g4, and the queen is hanging. All right, so I put some moves in there. It's by no means a complete repertoire, but I'm just demonstrating how this thing works. All right, so I'm just going to close that now. And you'll see now when I return to the screen, I've got 6 new positions. So in there are 6 training positions. So that's 6 positions where I'm to move, and my opponent has just played, and I should recall the correct move. So for example, if I now go into training mode, I will see positions from the line I just entered. So the correct move here is d4. Yes, that's correct. Now I'm going to play bishop b4 check. Yes. And the idea is that when you're learning positions, you have to recall the position several times in order for it to be considered learned. So here I'm getting the same position which I had just a couple of positions ago, just to make sure that I'm aware that the correct move is in fact d4. Okay, now I'm fast forwarded to this position. I'm going to take the e-pawn, take on e3. Yes, here I'm going to play bishop b4. It's the second time I've seen this position, and so on. And you see there's some numbers here which are representing kind of how far I've got with learning these positions. Don't need to pay too much attention to what these mean, but you'll see that if I just cycle through quickly here, these numbers steadily make their way over to the right. And now I've finished. So I've learned all of these positions. These 6 positions are in review, and in fact they'll be scheduled for recall the first time tomorrow. So I'll be asked to recall these positions tomorrow, and gradually as I become more familiar with these positions and I've recalled them repeatedly, the interval, the amount of time it takes for me to see that position again will increase. And this is the idea of spaced repetition and active recall learning. And the idea is it's the most effective way that we're aware of memorizing information. Okay, thank you very much. That was an introduction, very quick introduction to Opening Trainer. If you intend to use it, please do, and I hope you have a lot of fun.